Hello and welcome. Janine Brawley here, excited to be connecting. We have another great topic, and that is how to make our big decisions. So how to get our answers quickly, but also without a shadow of a doubt that they're the right answers for you. In other words, how do we really take the path of least resistance so your answers are in your highest good? Because we can make decisions, but they're not always the best decisions. So what is your process, right? And this came up because it was, we're always making decisions in life, right? But I was working with a couple clients just in the last few weeks, and there was this pattern, this theme about should I be doing this or should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing this, right? And, that can be in any topic. So it was in the area of, moving, like, do I move here? Do I move here? Or with a business career path, like so many people going online, is this the best business for me? Or do I stay in my job? Do I leave? Do I buy? Do I sell? Do I rent? Is this a good investment? What's the best way to, grow my income right now? So there's just so many decisions we need to make all the time. So how do we make it not just today or tomorrow if you have a big decision, but as an ongoing basis that really supports you in life? So, what is your process? Like, do you have a process, or do you just do what you've always done sort of unconsciously, more on autopilot, right? No right or wrong, but just, think about that. Like, what is my process in making decisions? Now, I'm not talking about simple decisions like, what should I have for lunch? Should I have lasagna or a sandwich, right? Like, can't go wrong with something like that, right? Or if it's an intellectual decision, we need the intellect, right? So I'm not talking about answers that are coming from that place. But here's the bottom line, is most of us make our decisions from our head, right? We are so overly identified from the mental body, from our head. And so, yeah, if we're making simple decisions like lunch or dinner or breakfast tomorrow, no big deal, right? But, or if it is an intellectual process, like figuring out if I can pay for this mortgage, it's an intellectual process, but not all decisions are just intellectual. So some of those things I was referring to, do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? Those are not always just intellectual. So if it's not an intellectual process, we need to get out of the intellect. It sounds so common sense, but that's what we do. We spend so much time in our head, overly identified, and we make decisions 100% usually, right, from our head. Like, why do we do that? Why do we spend so much time in our head and use only our head? I'm not talking all the time to all people, but in general, we are overly identified with that. We do that because we've been conditioned, we've been programmed, right? We've been told, use your head, or go think about it. Go to your room and you go think about it, right? Figure it out. So we've been taught to overly identify and use the intellect, the head, the thoughts. Now, I'm not saying they're bad. It's just we don't need to use them so much all the time, and we're not connected to other energy bodies as much. So yes, we are overly identified. So, and for me, it's a continual practice to get out of my head, because I tend to be a bit of a heady person. So it's a continual practice, right? So 3 concepts I want to talk about here, and that is when you ask for that answer, when you put it out there, that's not just in your head, but you just put it out there. When you ask, it's given, right? Your answer is here, but here's what happens. I don't care whether you call it, I care, but whether it's universal intelligence or higher self or God or source or your inner being, it's always communicating with us, right? We're always being communicated. The thing is, we disconnect, right? We live from here up quite often, so we're blocked. We have resistance. We don't actually hear or see or sense. We're not tuned into those answers because we're not connected. We're not in the present. We're not here, right? And so we've got to learn to access that, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more. So the second thing, concept I want to talk about is this needing to know, right? I'm going to ask you a question. What is your relationship to I don't know, right? Most of us aren't okay with that. Most of us want to know, right? We don't like that. I want to know, right? So just get curious about that. Here I am. Here's this concept around I don't know. What is our relationship? We don't like that, right? So we want to know so bad, and that keeps us in our head more, and it means we're not trusting the process. So we need to learn to trust that process. We need to learn not to know. It's okay not to know, because typically before we do know, we go through a phase of not knowing, right? And that's okay. So this is also needing to know. It's a form of resistance, which is the third concept I want to talk about. So resistance, if you've ever noticed, the harder you try to get an answer, what we're doing is actually pushing it away. We get more in our head, we try to get the answer, and we push it away farther from us. The more we try, the more resistance we create. But again, the answer isn't in our head, trying to get the answer, right? So we're not really letting ourselves see the answer that's right there. So when this happens, I suggest you just ask yourself, or ask myself, with compassion and love, like, what am I resisting? Right? What am I resisting? Now, at a conscious level, we're probably thinking, well, I'm not resisting anything. No, I want the answer, Janine. I want the answer. I'm not resisting anything. Well, consciously we are, but we've got split energy, right? So the truth is, if we are asking or putting it out there and it's not coming, or just not getting the answer, and we are getting in the way, that is resistance. So that's definitely something I want to look at with love, right? Instead of coming down hard on ourselves, just what am I resisting, right? If we're keeping the resistance there, it means we get to stay comfortable, we get to stay safe, we get to stay cozy, comfortable. It's really serving the part of us that doesn't want to change or grow. And so when we remove that resistance, that means we're willing to, we can look at how we want to grow, or maybe we need to look at something, or maybe we need to change, or, so it's important to just look at the resistance with curiosity. And usually when you start musing about it, you write it down, like, the reason I might want to stay here, or the reason I might have some resistance around this topic is, and it's interesting because I'm not one to journal a whole lot, but when I do this process, I'm like, it just comes. It's like, wow, I had no idea. Super powerful. I'm going to circle back to that. But we can really spend days, weeks, months, years, lifetimes in some of these bigger decisions, right? I know I did that with some of the bigger decisions in my life, and now I'm in a new place where I understand how to make these decisions, and things come so much quicker, right? I do have one client right now. It's kind of cute. She's an amazing, amazing woman, very successful, very self-aware, and she wants to relocate. And she's saying, well, I want to move here. I want to move here. And we got to remember, we're not the creator. We're co-creators, right? But she's like, do I move here? 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 And the more we do that, again, we're causing resistance because we're trying to get the answers up here. And so I just said, let it go. Let it go. And so I'll go through with what we can do. So what can we do to get those answers in taking the path of resistance, and that they really are in our highest good, rather than making it from the intellect, which may or may not always be in our highest good. So yes, when it's not just an intellectual process, get out of our head, right? Be less overly identified with the mental body. That's number one, get out of your head. Two is really ask from this place of being connected from your whole being, connected to your higher self, source, energy, universal intelligence, God. Again, it doesn't matter what you call it, but we're so much more than a mental body. And so connect to your higher self, connect to the universal intelligence, connect to God, right? And I don't care how you do that. There's so many different ways. You could be meditating, journaling, spending time in nature, just getting really still. And three is becoming present. We spend so much time in the past or the future, but when we are here in the now, we are present. And being present, number three, is how we get in the receptive mode. It's how we get our answers. So expect it. From this place of being present, you're being here and now, expect it. Four is get into, if you've followed any of my work, I'm really big on the vibration. So get into the feeling or the vibration of your outcome. Not the specific outcome, but the feeling that you want. So if it's, for example, if you want to, let's say, grow your business, it's not so much like, oh, this is what I'm doing, growing my business. It's not the doing, it's not the specifics. Let go of the specificity. It's, you have this feeling of being of service, of connecting, of contribution, of feeling abundant, right? It's that feeling, that vibration that you want to get into, not the specifics, but the feeling. That's a big one. And just let go of any attachment to it needs to look a certain way, because we're not, again, the creator. We're co-creating here, right? Because the answers are here. We just got to connect, you know, and see the answers and sense the answers and tune in. And lastly is just get curious again about any resistance, right? Let go of any resistance. Journal, muse, get curious, get the pen to paper, right? The reason I may be resisting this topic, whatever that might be, is because, right? And I trust you. It might not come the first time, but it will come. And trust the process. There's divine timing, right? So trust the process. Again, the steps are go through asking. Well, get out of your head. Ask. Connect to your higher self. Be present. The here and the now. Expect it. Get into the vibration, that feeling. And then let go of any resistance. Get curious about that resistance. And trust the process. Right? It's really is when you let go and you surrender is when you get your answers. And, you know, it's how you become more of a deliberate creator. It's how you rise above the mental body. It's how you disidentify with all your thoughts. It really is about showing up in a new way. It's really about being more of a conscious creator, right? And last thing I'll leave you with is that when you do get your answer, make sure you give thanks. You give thanks to receiving that answer, and because it also reinforces the process and your connection to source, or whatever the word is for you. So I hope that was helpful. I love hearing feedback, and until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.